Did you hit both targets? Because it went straight through the back.
Yeah, I hit both.
Alright, let's move on. Alright guys, welcome back to Penetration Tests Round 2. A lot of the penetration values in ArmA have been changed vastly, and today I've got a couple of kind of cool things. First of all, I'm going to be working with an assistant, the lovely Ryukin, aka Oliver. And the other thing is, a guy on Reddit named Hypnomatic gave me a pretty cool script. Check this out. So we're going to be able to shoot through stuff and see where the rounds go. Yep, we'll start with vehicles with the 5.56. Just go through the soft panels and then try the wheel wells and the engine block. Fire when ready. Yes. What I noticed is the engine block still blocks shots, but you can fire. Are you shooting straight through the wheel well?
Yep, straight through the wheel well.
They're getting blocked. They're going through the first wheel, but they're not going through the second one. That's kind of cool. Alright, stand by. There you go. You finally got through. So once you destroy the tires, I guess the tires are what was stopping it. I'm going to clear this. Shoot through again. Okay, so the wheel well does have a chance to stop the rounds, but the soft panels do not, and the engine block does. Except the engine block is not the whole engine. You can shoot through like the top of the hood. Well, I was getting some rounds through the top of the hood earlier. The top and the front.
Nice.
Alright, so hold on. You're using the default vanilla 5.56. I'm using a mod. I'm using a HK416 from a mod. So let's see if I get the same penetration. Took that wheel out in one shot. Alright, now one thing I did notice earlier. Oh, this car has some bulletproof glass, you see that? The shot didn't penetrate through the glass. Went through that time. It got massively
and it got deflected.
deformed, though. Yeah, deflected rather. I noticed that when shooting through a section with a lot of layers, the rounds don't always go through.
Yeah, I like that, because that's a good chance, because it's a good chance, like in real life, to get deflected wrong or bad or something.
Alright, now let's move on to the stone wall up there. See if you can put a few rounds through that wall at that target on the second floor.
Alright, here we go, fire.
There you go. It went through, but it didn't draw the thing. It's not drawing for you now. Oh well. Alright, I'll try. So we can penetrate through the stone now. Let's try the corner over here, see how far through the corner we can penetrate through. I'll start this time. Oops. Now those two rounds went through, but they got deflected pretty wildly.
Yep.
So I was eventually able to get around through, and the one that went through didn't get deflected at all. There you go, that one went through, but it missed the target. So you can now penetrate through the stone walls and through the corners of stone structures with 5.56 sometimes. Let's move over. Let's try this one. I'm not sure what type of material this is. I think it's concrete. So let's see if we can penetrate with 5.56. Nope. Try. Nope. No dice on that. So let's try the stone wall. Alright, I'll try. So 5.56 won't penetrate the concrete or the stone wall. Now, the metal shack that everyone was real surprised nothing would penetrate through the other day. We definitely can get penetration through now. And you can even shoot through targets with the 5.56. So let's move on. Now this, I'm not sure what material this house is made out of. It's maybe plaster on the outside and stone on the inside, or concrete. I have no idea. Or maybe it's all concrete. But 5.56. So 5.56 won't penetrate through this wall. At all. And of course it will penetrate through the window. Is this the same type of stone as that other building? I think so. But let's try.
Yeah.
Go through this. I'll stand in the house and let you fire.
It's ricocheting pretty good, but it's going through.
Yep. Yeah, the rounds are deflecting. Alright, let's move on. Now this house I thought was plaster last time, but as you can see there's actually stone on the edges of it, so I assume it's stone covered in some sort of plaster. And once again, cannot shoot through with 5.56. And this is the same type of stone as the other one. I'll pop it. Penetrates, no issues. Alright, now let's look at this here. We can shoot this wall, we can shoot through this wall straight on, but if we try to shoot at an angle, the rounds do not
it's not penetrating.
I think the angle, I think it's about 20 degrees, so let's fire until we get a round that goes through. Here we go. That was the first and only round that went through. So you have about, would you say that's about 20 degree angle?
I'd say probably like
15?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to be shooting pretty straight on to penetrate through. So let's move on. Here we got a brick and concrete building. And see if you can hit that target on the left through the wall. Not with the 5.56. And let's keep going. And I think this is another concrete structure, and the rounds are going through fairly easily.
Fairly easily.
Yeah. Alright, now we're going to step up to the 6.5. We're not going to shoot at anything the 5.56 was able to go through, so let's start over here this time. on these walls. Alright. So what else? Alright, let's move over to these, the concrete house, I think? Stone house?
Yeah.
Sure. Let's try here. Some of the rounds are actually making it through here.
Yep, same here. Like half of them are going through.
And they're getting deflected pretty badly. So it looks like, what, about 60% penetration? Maybe 70?
Yeah, probably somewhere around there.
Alright. Now this is a similar but different type of stone house. I think it's stone and plaster. Try through here. First shot penetrated. Second shot penetrated. So that's got, looks like, about 100% penetration.
Say 75.
Well, I think it was penetrating every time, but I think the rounds were getting deflected. Because I see some rounds that went through and then hit the ground instead of hitting the target. So it looks like 100% penetration, but pretty good deflection. And I'll try this one. I think this is the same. Oh, no. And that's 100% penetration with very little deflection. So let's move to the brick. Couldn't shoot through the brick with the 5.56. Alright, now shoot. There you go, first shot. Didn't look like a terrible amount of deflection.
Looks like it's not getting deflected too bad, but they are losing on quite a bit of velocity.
Yeah. Alright, let's move on.
Alright, let's clear.
Actually, that's the last thing the 5.56 wouldn't go through, isn't it?
Yep.
Alright, so let's step it up. So what could we... Was there anything we couldn't penetrate with the 6.5?
Yeah, the low stone wall.
Okay, so let's step up to 7.62. Alright, so let's start here. Alright, try. Now this is where the rounds start penetrating multiple layers. Let's come over here.
Yep.
And see if you can line these two targets up inside the shack, and then fire. You got both of them, and the round stopped when it hit the second one. So let's move over to this house. That one's not penetrating multiple. Alright, let's move on. Stone and plaster. Alright, that one's only going through the 2 layers. Let's try this one. That one went through the target, but it got deflected pretty bad after it went through.
Try again.
Alright, I'll try. See if I can get a spread on the rounds and get that second target down. Yeah, okay, so... Well, it looks like of all of those, only one of them hit, but I think only 3 of them hit the first target, so... So yeah, you can penetrate multiple layers, but after it goes through the first target on the stone building, it loses a lot of power. It gets deflected really bad. Alright, there we go. Now try here again. It hit first shot, very little deflection, but it did not go through. So, let's move on. We're going to have to step it up to get rounds through that concrete and stone wall. So let's, you grab the 50 cal and I'll grab the 408.
Roger that.
Oh man. That it did not
That's
penetrate through.
that's some serious stone.
Give it a shot.
No penetration.
Alright. Alright. So now we're going to go and see how many layers we can shoot through with these. Now there's the 2 layers of this building and 2 targets inside, and there's a 3rd target back behind the building. So if you stand right about there, let's see if you can penetrate through all of those.
Ready?
Yep. Yep. It went through all of them and hit the ground behind.
You're angled down too much. You need to angle up. You hit the stone wall behind it in the ground. No, that got stopped for some reason. You're getting both the targets on the inside, but it's not going through the back of the building.
Yeah, it's the round. The 50 is way more powerful than the 408.
Yep.
So let's move on to this building. See if you can line those 2 targets up. There we go. So that one went through the front, both targets through the back of the wall, and ended in the dirt. So 408 goes through the front wall and both targets, but it won't go through the rear wall. Did you hit both targets? Because it went straight through the back.
Yeah, I hit both.
Alright, let's move on.
Firing.
So once again, the 50 goes through the whole house. Let me try with the 408. Be clear.
Nope, doesn't go through the back.
Alright, so the 50 is definitely way more powerful than the 408. And it
did not go through the back.
Alright. That went through the back wall. And through another target. Nope, stand by, I'm back behind. It went through the back wall and through another target, through the wall, and hit the ground.
All I can say is if someone is firing a 50 cal, your ass better be in the dirt.
Now there's something wrong with the car wrecks. Nothing penetrates through the wrecks. See if you can penetrate through the wreck. Yeah. As a final afterthought, let's see if we can penetrate some of the lighter armored targets. Alright, fire. Did not go all the way through, but it did penetrate inside. If you can see this. The round went through. I'm gonna try with the 408.
Nope, no penetration.
Okay, so the 50 will penetrate light armor, but the 408 will not. So, that concludes the second round of penetration testing. And we've got 5.56 that'll penetrate through vehicles and through the stone walls. Nothing will penetrate through these the city wall, the low city wall, and the high stone wall. 5.56 will penetrate through the stone shack. I don't believe... Yeah, it will not penetrate through the concrete building or the stone and plaster building, but it will penetrate through the loose stone building. Of both types. And it will not penetrate through the brick. The 6.5 will penetrate through everything that the 5.56 would. It has about a 75% penetration, but a really high deflection on the concrete building. And it has 100% penetration on the stone and plaster building. And it will penetrate through the brick. The 762 will penetrate. That's where we start getting multiple penetration layers. It'll penetrate through it'll penetrate through the steel shed and 2 targets. It'll penetrate through the concrete. It'll penetrate through the concrete house, but only 1 target. It'll penetrate through the loose stone house and sometimes 2 targets. It'll penetrate through the stone and plaster. 762 would not penetrate through more than 1 target in the stone and plaster house. It would, but not reliably, through the loose stone house. And it would penetrate through the brick, but only through to 1 target. And lastly, with the sniper rifles, the 50 and the 408, neither would penetrate either of these walls. The 50 penetrated every single layer and target of the steel shed. Basically, nothing would stop the 50. The 50 shot through everything that we shot at, all the way until it hit the ground behind it, except for these walls. The 408, on the other hand, would penetrate the first wall, 2 targets, and then stop in the back wall. Alright, and we almost forgot to take a look at the military-type buildings, and they are fairly safe. We'll start with 762. 762 will not. We can open the hatch. And let's move it up. We'll do the 408 and then the 50. 408 will penetrate, so now the question is how deeply will it penetrate? Penetrated the top, but not the bottom. So let's go up the stairs and check. So it will just barely penetrate through and hit the target on the top panels, but it doesn't look like it'll penetrate on the main panels. Let's see if it'll penetrate the hatch. Does not look like it. Yep, the round did not go through the hatch. Alright, and let's move to the 50. And you can see the 50 went through the panel, through the target, and all the way through. So let's see how many layers it'll penetrate here. Yeah, okay. So there is a limit to what the 50 will penetrate. It'll penetrate the main panel and 1 target, but it will not penetrate the secondary wall, or through the target, or through the back. So these buildings are relatively safe to hunker down and take cover in for most small arms. 50 and up, it's a crapshoot. So that concludes the second round of small arms penetration tests. The results are greatly improved at this point, and definitely more realistic. So, as usual, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching.
We're still taking a lot of fire from the northwest there.
The chopper spooled up.
One to the northwest, well schools.
Alright, let's play a game. Let's play how much stuff can we penetrate through. I'm going to start with the 5.56 and then work it up. Actually, I'll just go ahead and spoil it. Yeah, pistols won't penetrate anything. It's really disappointing. They won't even penetrate these steel targets or the steel shack, the tin shack, whatever it's made of. But Let's see. 5.56 will penetrate 3 of these targets. Let's move. Let's see how many layers of the car 5.56 will penetrate. Oh, those all went through the windows. So it'll go through more than one car at least.
See what 762 does.
Yep. It went all the way through 2, and one of the rounds made it all the way through 3.
Man, people are gonna get rocked so much if they just start hiding behind cars and not realizing.
So the M14 will penetrate 4 of these targets. Or the 7.62 will, rather. And this starts to illustrate why the 408 wouldn't penetrate that much. 408 will only penetrate 5 targets, and the 7.62 would penetrate 4. Now, shoot with a 50. I already know what's going to happen. It put down 12 targets. Let's try on the vehicles. Alright, you go first with the 50. So it penetrated... It probably stopped because you hit a solid part of the box truck, but it penetrated cleanly through 3 cars.
Let me try going just a little bit further to the right.
Alright. That's interesting.
Got a bad hop, but it went through 4, even the panel truck. But you got a really good hop on it.
Oh, it didn't hit the second car at all. That's one of the things. It went through the windows of the truck. But that's interesting. I wonder... The round deflected right here, it went up, and then it ricocheted off the ground, which is actually really cool, and it ended in the tree. Ah, we forgot to do tree penetration. I'll just go ahead and spoil it. 5.56 and will not penetrate. 6.5 will penetrate some of the thinner trees. 7.62 will penetrate some of the thinner trees, and then the 50 will still penetrate everything. And the 408 has a chance to penetrate the thicker trees. Yep, it went through the back wall. Oh, Jesus. I'm fucking back here.
Yeah, let me
There we go.
let me redraw.
That was so fucking loud. Holy shit.
Restart.